paying your credit card bill on time is actually punishing you. I know. It sounds completely backwards. You have the cash in the bank, you pay your balance in full every single month. You pay zero interest, and you think you're a financial superstar. But 3 days later, you check your phone and see your credit score just tanked by 25 points. You did everything right, but the algorithm penalized you anyway. This happens to thousands of responsible people every single month, and it is usually because of a fundamental misunderstanding of one specific date on the calendar. Today, we are deconstructing the banking system's sneakiest algorithms. I'm going to show you how the credit plumbing actually works, why paying in full is not the same as having a zero balance, and how shifting your payment by just 48 hours can be the difference between a mediocre score and an exceptional one. Welcome to Invests with Elena, where we outsmart the financial systems designed to outsmart us. If you want to stop playing a game designed for you to lose, hit that subscribe button. It's the highest ROI on your attention today. Let's start with the trap that catches almost everyone. From a young age, we are trained to believe that the due date is the holy grail of our financial lives. And yes, in terms of not losing money to interest and late fees, that's true. But here's the friction point. We assume the credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, are watching a live feed of our bank accounts. We think if we pay off our debt on the 15th, the bureau knows we're debt-free on the 16th. But that is not how the plumbing works. The credit scoring system is not a movie. It is a series of photographs. And unfortunately, the photographer always takes the picture right when your room is the messiest, days before you actually clean it up. Let's visualize the actual timeline. Say your billing cycle runs from the 1st to the 30th of the month. You swipe for groceries, gas, and dinners. Your balance is climbing. On the 30th, the cycle closes and the bank generates your statement. That PDF bill in your email. This is the critical moment. The statement closing date. The balance on that specific piece of paper is the number the bank sends to the credit bureaus. It is hard-coded into your credit report. But your due date isn't for another 25 days. So you might have a $3,000 balance reported on the 30th, even if you pay it down to zero on the 20th of the next month. The bureau sees sky-high debt utilization, and your score drops, even though you paid perfectly on time. But wait, why do banks keep this a secret? Why do they hide this timeline behind layers of mobile app interfaces that scream the due date but bury the closing date? Simple. A slightly lower credit score makes you a more profitable customer. If you're trapped in the good credit range instead of excellent, they can charge you higher rates on car loans and mortgages. Your ignorance is their revenue stream. We need to look at exactly how heavy this weight is. If you look at the FICO pie chart, payment history is the biggest slice at 35%. Makes sense. Did you pay your bills? But the second biggest slice, coming in at a massive 30%, is amounts owed. This is almost entirely driven by your credit utilization ratio. Think about that. Nearly 1/3 of your financial reputation is based solely on how much of your available credit you are using at the exact moment the snapshot is taken. It is weighted heavier than the length of your credit history. It is weighted heavier than your mix of credit types. You could have a perfect 10-year history, but if you let your cards report high utilization for a single month, that 30% slice crumbles, and your score drags down instantly. The math is simple division, but the algorithm's impact is tiered. Utilization is your current balance divided by your limit. If you owe $500 on a $1,000 card, you're at 50%. The scoring models generally hate anything above 30%. That's the first major cliff. Cross 30%, and you look like a risk. Cross 50%, and you look like a crisis. Max it out near 100%, and your score goes into free fall. I call this the panic zone. I've seen people with perfect 800 scores drop into the mid-740s just because they booked a family vacation on a card with a low limit. They didn't miss a payment. They didn't apply for a new loan. They just let the utilization spike cross a threshold on the statement date. The good news? Utilization has no memory in FICO 8. Unlike a missed payment that haunts you for 7 years, utilization resets monthly. If you were at 90% in January, but pay it down to 5% in February, your score bounces back as if the spike never happened. You can fix this issue in 30 days or less. So logically, you might think, okay, Elena, the goal is to get my reported balance to 0 every single month. If low is good, 0 must be perfect, right? Stop right there. Consistently reporting a $0 balance across every single card will actually result in a lower score than reporting a small balance. It sounds crazy, but the algorithm penalizes you for looking like a financial ghost. This is one of the most stubborn myths in the credit world. People wear the zero balance badge with pride, paying off everything early so their statement reads $0. While that feels great for your peace of mind, it confuses the algorithm. The scoring model is designed to assess how you manage active debt. If your report shows $0 owed month after month, the system assumes you aren't using credit at all. In their eyes, a person who doesn't use credit is riskier than a person who uses it responsibly. To maximize your score, you want to be in the sweet spot. Data shows that high achievers, people with perfect 850 scores, average a 4% to 7% utilization rate. There is a precise strategy for this called AZEO, all 0 except 1. If you have 5 cards, you pay 4 of them to $0 before their statement dates. For the 5th card, you pay it down so it reports a tiny, trivial balance. Roughly 1% of your limit, like $10 or $20. Now, I know what you're thinking. Elena, if I leave a balance, won't I pay interest? No. This is where the terminology trips people up. Reporting a balance is not the same as carrying a balance. If your statement closes on the 30th with a $10 balance, that $10 gets reported. You have until the due date, usually 25 days later, to pay that $10. As long as you pay it by the due date, you pay 0 interest. You get the credit score boost of showing active use and the financial benefit of paying absolutely no interest. You are threading the needle between the reporting date and the due date. So how do we execute this in the real world? If you rely on autopay, you have already lost this game. Autopay is designed to keep you from being late. It is not designed to optimize your score. You have to turn off autopilot and take manual control. Here is your 3-step protocol. Step 1. Information gathering. You need to know the statement closing date for every card you own. This is usually buried. Don't look at the due date. Go to your mobile app, open the Statements tab, and open a PDF of a past bill. Look for billing cycle ends or closing date. Put these dates in your calendar as recurring monthly events. Step 2. The math and the 48-hour buffer. 2 days before your calendar reminder, let's say your statement closes on the 15th, so your reminder is the 13th. Log in and look at your balance. Let's say you owe $800 on a card with a $1,000 limit. To report a 1% balance, $10, you manually push a payment of $790 right then. That 2-day buffer is crucial because bank transfers can take 48 hours to clear and post. When the 15th rolls around, the computer takes the snapshot, sees $10, and reports a flawless 1% utilization to the bureaus. Step 3. The cleanup. Once the statement cuts, you'll get an email saying your bill is ready. Open it. It will say, "New balance, $10." Now, you simply pay off that remaining $10 before the actual due date 3 weeks later to avoid interest. It is a 2-step payment process that completely decouples your spending from your credit report. But a word of warning for the overachievers. There is a way to abuse this that will get your accounts shut down. It's called credit cycling. If you have a $1,000 limit and you spend $1,000, pay it off mid-month, spend another $1,000, pay it off and spend another $1,000, you have technically cycled $3,000 of credit through a $1,000 limit. You might think the bank loves you for this. You would be wrong. To a bank's risk department, credit cycling looks like money laundering or bust-out fraud. They gave you a $1,000 limit for a reason. That is their maximum exposure threshold with you. By cycling, you force them to take on more transaction volume than they agreed to. This can trigger an immediate freeze, a financial review, or they might just close your account entirely. If you are constantly hitting your limit, you don't need a payment hack. You need a credit limit increase? Call your issuer, tell them you pay in full every month, and ask for a higher limit. Higher limits make utilization management effortless. If you have a $20,000 limit, spending $2,000 is naturally a 10% utilization rate. You don't even have to use the hack. And please, stop closing your old unused credit cards. When you close a card with the $10,000 limit that has a zero balance, you instantly remove $10,000 from the denominator of your utilization math. Your total debt stays the same, but your total available credit drops, causing your utilization percentage to spike overnight. Keep those old cards open. Put a tiny recurring subscription on them, like a $15 Netflix account. Set it to autopay, and let them pad your utilization denominator forever. They are the ballast keeping your ship steady. Look, the banking system is built on rules. Most people only learn the rules about fees and interest because those are loud. But the rules about reporting and data are just as powerful. By taking control of the snapshot, you stop being a victim of the algorithm and start being the manager of it. I want to challenge you. Try this for just 1 month. Pick one card, find the statement closing date, pay it down early, and watch your monitoring app. When you see that score jump, come back to this video and leave a comment with how many points you gained. Your credit score isn't a measure of your worth. It's just a financial tool. And now, you know how to wield it. I'm Elena. Keep your systems simple, keep your goals big, and stop playing their game. I'll see you in the next video.